All right, welcome to basically what is going to be the Chapter 5 Special Segments Test Review. And I snagged a few questions off the weekend homework as well as the test review that we did in class today, or at least got started on it. And some of these were by request. Now this video is going to be a bit long, so what you need to do is you don't want to watch it like watching a program. You want to skip to various problems that are on here, and they're sequential to the problems that we did in class. And take a look at them. And as always, watching videos is not learning. Doing them is learning. You have to pause, work them on a blank sheet of paper, look at the process, and try it again. Passive learning, don't do it. All right, so we're going to move on to the next example here. Oh, I clicked it one too many. I got a war going on here now. So let's go back to this one. This one was by request. And write equation to the perpendicular bisector that goes through the line segment. So what we have here is a basic line segment. And I'm just going to sketch it out for you real quick. And this is negative 1, 1. This is A, negative 1, 1. And this is going to be B, 7, 5. I got some bleeding, so you're just going to have to follow along. What we're going to look for is the midpoint and the perpendicular line that goes through that midpoint. All right, that is going to be a right angle. So what we need to do, one, is find that midpoint. Two, find the slope. Then we have the opposite recip. Then we take that opposite recip slope, that midpoint, and work it out. So let's find the midpoint first. So midpoint, and we're going to take my x's. We're going to add them together. Negative 1 and 7 gives me positive 6. Half of 6 is 3. 1 plus 5 is 6. Half of 6 is 3. So my midpoint is 3, 3. So this is 3, 3. Now my slope of AB, I'll use a t-chart. And I'm going to write negative 1, 1 and 7, 5. So that is basically a plus 4. And from negative 1 to 7 is a plus 8. 4 over 8, my delta y over my delta x is 1/2. So my slope is equal to 1/2. So my perpendicular slope is going to be the opposite recip. So I flip it and change the sign. That is equal to negative 2. Now I'm going to use y minus y1 and go ahead and use this slope. This slope and this point right here to go ahead and knock out the problem. So I have y minus 3 is equal to negative 2 times x minus 3. So I have y minus 3 again. I'm going to distribute the negative 2, so that's negative 2x plus 6. And then I'm going to add 3 to that, so I get y is equal to negative 2x plus 9. That is the equation of my perpendicular bisector. Alrighty, so moving on. Next problem. And what we have here, and these are straight up definition problems. So what we have is our midpoint. So we're going to have the midpoint segment. All three of these points are midpoints. So these are equal, so on. So ABC is equilateral. So all these sides are also equal. So if AB is 12, guess what? This side is 12. This side is 12. Find the perimeter of DEF. Since we have mid-segments, we know that this is 6 because this is going to be half of that 12. This is going to be 6. And this is going to be 6. So 6 plus 6 plus 6 is 18. Now we have a scaling. AD is congruent to what two segments? So here's AD right here. And since we know some things about midpoint, well, mid-segment, we know this is midpoint, so it's congruent to this one. And it's going to be congruent to its parallel one, parallel mid-segment right here. So it's going to be congruent to FE and DC. All right, moving on. Now, this is an interesting problem. There's more than one way to do this. We can actually solve these triangles and so on because we have a 45-45 isosceles right. So we know these are 45-degree angles. And we're just going to want to compare the size of the angles from, say, big to small. So with this being 45 and that being 45, Let's take a look at this angle. So these are going to be the same. So we need to figure out more about 2 and 3. This is 90. Now, in a right triangle, when we have the other two angles, they're either going to be equal to 45, or one's going to be bigger than 45 and the other one's going to be smaller. You can't have two smaller than 45, and you can't have two bigger than 45. So one of these two is going to be bigger than 45. One of these two is going to be smaller than 45. Well, guess what? Here's the big side over here. So this angle is going to be bigger than this guy right here. So 3 is going to be bigger than 45. And number 2 is going to be less than 45. All right? So we know that if this is smaller than 1, so 1 is going to be the middle one. This is going to be my smallest one, and that's going to be our biggest. So it's going to be 3, 1, 2. These are my angles, and I can put little angle things in here. There we go. There's other ways to approach this problem. You can actually solve the lengths of all these sides, because with a 45, 45, and this being 35, you know that you can use special right properties to come up with these lengths. You could use the Pythagorean for these lengths over here. Okay, we have blah, 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 8 and 13 millimeters, blah, blah, blah. What is the third length? This is basically one of the problems that we threw at you that were naked problems, where we have to say what is the possible lengths of a third side of a triangle. We're going to call that third side x. So any two sides have to be greater than a third. So 8 plus 13 has to be greater than x. So we got 21. 21 has to be greater than x, or you've gotten used to me being my culturally biased person that I am. I like left to right. Now, that's as small as it can be. Well, we can't go infinitely small. So we're going to take this x and that 8 and add them together. So x plus 8 has to be greater than the third side. So x has to be greater than 5. So it can't be any smaller than 5. It can't be any bigger than 21. To write that as a compound inequality, I'll take my small number, my inequality symbol, and my big number. There's the possible ranges. Moving on. Altitude. You've got to know your definitions. And the best way to learn definitions is simply just by practicing them. So BC is find BC if, I think that's supposed to say the word if. So I'm going to change that right now. Find BC if AD is an altitude. So we know that this is a right triangle right here. Poink. Well, we're not going to set these equal to 2 because it doesn't say median or perpendicular bisector or something. So we're going to have 3/4 x plus 3. And then we're going to equal to the only thing that we know. It's going to equal to 90. All right? So 3/4 x is equal to 87. I got to get the equal sign in there. So we're going to divide by 3, which gives me 29, and times 4. What? So basically 29 times 4 is 4 times 20 plus 4 times 9. And that will give me 116. So what I did in my head was I just divided 87 by 3. I knew 87 was just 3 away from 90, so I just took 30 minus 1, which is 29. So I have 4 times 29. And 4 times 20 is 80, and 4 times that is 36, so I got 116. Okay, boom. So I got to plug that in. So 116 goes in right here. Good grief. Big number. So 300 plus 30 plus 18 minus 4 plus 232. You work that out. I think it's 500 something. I didn't pull up my calculator, and my head really does hurt. Okay, moving on. Given the points A, B, and C are the vertices of A. I can't read either. Can you tell it's late? It is late. Okay, my dog is staring at me through the door too. I think he wants a biscuit. If CD is a median, what are the coordinates of D? So I'm going to go ahead and throw this triangle out here. I'm just going to draw a real quick thing. I got A, B, and C. And this is -4, 6, so on. Okay? If CD is a median, so what we're going to have right here is C going over to here, to D, cutting these things in half. So guess what? We've got to find the midpoint of AB. That's all we're doing here. So we're going to find the midpoint of AB, midpoint, and we're just going to take our A and our B and add them together. -4 plus -4 is -8 divided by 2 is -4. We kind of knew that because it was a horizontal line. Vertical line. So 6 plus 2 is 8, and divided by 2 is 4. BX is an altitude of the triangle. So we've got the same triangle, ABC. And what we have is BX. So BX is an altitude. So that's going to come down here, make a right angle. So what is the slope? We need to find the slope of AC, which we're going to take the difference of our y's over the difference of our x's. And A is -4.6. And C is 2.5. So that's a -1. And that is a -6. So plus 6. So -1 over +6 is my slope. Okay? So we're going to flip it and change the sign so the perpendicular slope is equal to 6. Moving on. Find the value of x. So we have a mid-segment because we know we have these right here. So this tells us this is a mid-segment. These are equal, these are equal. So this is exactly half of that. So we're going to take half of 74 and make it equal to this. Because think about it. This makes half of it. So it takes 2 of these to make the whole thing, or you could cut this in half. So we're going to take 35 plus 2, so 37. 4x plus 5 is equal to 37. Subtract 5 on both sides, so you get 4x is equal to 32. X is equal to 8. And that's all it's asking for. Find the value of x. Next. Do the following lengths make a triangle? Well, any two sides have to be greater than a third. So take a look at this. This is 6, that's 5, that's good, that's good. 5 and 2 is 7. So yeah, that makes it just fine. That's 11. That's 9. They're all bigger than the other number. Good. 4 plus 5.1 is 9.1. Yeah, you got plenty of room to spare. So boom, that's good. Now look at this one. I'll turn this to red because this is a no-no. All right. 4 plus 7 is 7. So what you have is you have a length of 4. You have a length of 3. And then you have a length of 7. Okay? They're equal. Now, imagine me putting this on top of each other. And as soon as I want to make a triangle, as soon as I want to do that, watch this, I'm going to lower it. Lower it. And as soon as I want to make a triangle, say rotate it, it's like a drawbridge. It breaks the thing. So they have to be just a tiny bit bigger. Moving on. Find the possibility of third side length. I'm only going to do one of these. And basically, all I do is I add these two up. I did an example just a little bit. It has to be greater than x. Okay? And that means 12 is greater than x, or x is less than 12. All right? Now, we're not going to have something tiny, itsy bitsy like, or even in the negative number, so we got to figure out what the smallest dx can be. So we're going to take x again, add it to our small number, make it bigger than our whatever number, 8. So x has to be bigger than 4 because I subtract 4 on both sides. So the compound inequality looks like this. Okay? And you do all these the same exact way. The numbers are just different. Lengths of sides of ABC. I'm going to draw a picture because that's just a lot to look at on a Monday night. So I have ABC. And AB is 45, so I'm just going to fill her in. BC is 57. And AC is 40.5. So what we're going to do is just use our property of, okay, we got the big side, so it's going to be opposite our big angle right here. So angle A, and make sure you look at this. This is extremely important. look at largest to smallest. So angle A is the biggie. This one is going to be second, so angle C is number 2, and B is our smallest. Angle B is our smallest. All right? Next. This one we want to take a look at. So I'm going to draw another triangle. A, B, C. And what I have here is, oh, good grief, D, E, F. D, E, F. Yes, you knew what I meant. So this one is going to be 4.5 x minus 5, and so on. This one is going to be 10x minus 2, and this one is going to be 5x minus 8. Okay, I'm just going to add them all up and set it equal to 180. So I have 19.5x, and I have negative 5, negative 2, negative 8. So that gives me minus 15 is equal to 180. I set it equal to 180 because they all add up to 180. I'm trying to get the angle sizes so I can tell which sides are the biggest. Add 15 to both sides, so I get 19.5x is equal to 195. They're very kind in the numbers because the x comes out to be a nice easy 10. So I'm going to throw 10 into here. So 45 minus 5 is 40. So this degree is 40. So we got 100 minus 2 is 98. And we got 50 minus 8, which is 42. All right? So here's my three ingredients. So this is going to be the biggest. Right here is the big side because it's opposite the 98. This guy's going to be the middle, and this guy's going to be the small. All right? Moving on. Altitude. Know your definitions. Altitude forms a right angle. So this is similar to a previous problem. So I got 5x plus 10 is equal to 90. 5x is equal to 80. So what is that going to be? 50 plus 30. So that's going to be 16. X is equal to 16. All right. And it wants to find the length of xy. Xy is right here, so we're looking at 32. AD is the median. Definition question. Median, this splits it in half. So I have 6x minus 12 is equal to x plus 8. So I have 5x is equal to 20. X is equal to 4. Now we want to find the length of BC. So 4 goes in here, so this better be 12, and this better be 12. Yeah, 6 times 4, so the whole thing is 24. Okay. We're speeding along. Very standard problem here. We got a triangle midsegment. This is half of that. So we can either double this and equal to that or have this. I'm going to go ahead and double this because it keeps the numbers nice and easy. So we got 4x is equal to 3x plus 10. And that gives us x is equal to 10. About as simple as you can get. Now, pay particular attention to this one. Now, read the questions. We're not asking for the overall smallest or overall largest. We'd have to do a little bit of work for that. But opposite my 70 is my big. Opposite my small, 50 is small. And opposite my 60 is the middle. Same with this. This is going to be big. This is going to be our middle. And this is going to be our small. DEG. Name the shortest side. That's going to be GE. Name the longest side of GEF. Well, that's going to be this side right here, EF. If I wanted to find the smallest side of both of these, I'd compare this medium and this small, knowing that this medium is the same length. This small is the overall small. Next, find the slope of the altitude. This is a very important problem. I need you to stop, pause, pay attention, try it, redo, check this problem out. So I'm going to draw my triangle and ABC. And what I'm doing is I need to find AM, altitude AM. So it goes over here and forms a right angle. Now what we need is this slope so we can find the perpendicular slope. So we're going to find the slope of BC. And let's throw in a T-chart. So B is 4, negative 1. and C is negative 5, 4. So that is a plus 5. And this is a 4 to negative 5 is a negative 9. So my slope is equal to 5 over negative 9. Perpendicular slope is equal to 9/5. And that's what we're looking for. Okay, next. I'm over 20 minutes. Can you believe it? The longest one ever. All right, so 13. If measure of angle ABF is 39, this is right here, 39. Okay, and ABF, yeah, because this is E right here. It didn't cut off. There we go. And BF is angle by, so that's 39. This is 90. Okay, so we have to figure out what this angle is. Well, these two have to add up to 90 because see this triangle right here? That's what we're looking for. This triangle right here. So we're just going to add 39 plus 39 and subtract it from 90. So that's 60 plus 18, 78, so 12. So this is going to have to be 12 degrees. Okay. Identify a median. So let's take a look at this. Let's find a median here. Yeah, I'm going to erase all this. Median is where they are equal, and you come from a vertex. So AD is the median. Identify altitude. It needs to have this symbol right here. So CF is the only one that we have that comes from a vertex. Next problem. Following diagram, we have mid-segment theorem. AB is parallel. Here's AB. Has to be parallel to this guy. So DE. DF is congruent to this segment and this segment because it is exactly half of this, and that's a midpoint. So it is BE and CE. All right. Find x when DE is 4x. So DE is 4x. That means this whole thing has to be half. I mean, this is double what this is equal to. So if this whole thing is 32, this is 16. So 4x is equal to 16. There you go. This should be the last one. Find x when DF is 42. So DF is 42 right here. Okay. CE is 36. I mean 3x. So this is the same length. This whole thing is 6x. We just set it equal together. So 3x is equal to 42. Okay, so that is equal to 14. What about when AC is 11? AC is 11. I mean x minus 11. And EF is 13. Well, this is going to be AC is all 11. EF is 13. So we're going to have to basically double that, 26. And we have x minus 11 is equal to 26. We're going to add 11 to both sides, so x is equal to 37. All right, this one a bit long, but again, if you watch the whole thing like a TV program, you're probably not using the right strategy. What you want to do is pause, hit specific problems, do only a few minutes of this here and there, and use these just as a reference for your own pencil to paper work. All righty, I'll see you tomorrow.